Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be trying on a whole lot of new makeup that I've purchased over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So let's get started. There's quite a bit to get through. I'm going to start off with primer. I'm going to use one of my favorite ones. This is the Chanel, the mattifying one. Just put about that much on and I'll just press that mainly through my T-zone, but I also put it just over my cheeks as well. So the foundation that I'm going to use today is the Dior Forever, the Hydra Nude one. I'm going to put 1 pump of that. I might need a little bit more, hopefully not. Now I did a dedicated video on this foundation, and for me that was with my oily skin in the middle of summer here, because I think it was January or February. And I just felt it was just a little bit too glowy with my oily skin unless I really powdered it down. Now in that video you can see how shiny that I get in it, but I thought I'll revisit this now because it's nearly winter here and the weather has cooled down. And I tried it again about 4 or 5 days ago and I've worn it every day since. This is just so beautiful. My skin is still oily, but not as oily as it is in the summertime. So if you have oily skin and weren't too sure about this foundation and you like to change up your foundations in the different seasons, then I highly recommend this. This is just beautiful. I do powder it, but just powder it the once, and then I find that I don't need to powder it again during the rest of the day. So that's why I like changing up and trying out different foundations, because although with my oily skin they may not work when the weather is warmer, it's really nice to use different types of foundations during the different seasons, and this is just beautiful. And I love the way that this looks on my skin. It just melds in, it doesn't feel heavy at all, and I think it gives this really beautiful finish on my mature skin. So this gives really good coverage, light towards medium. It is buildable, but it looks like my skin is just perfected. It doesn't look mask-like in any way, and the finish of it I think is just really gorgeous. I just love this. So the concealer that I'm going to put on today, this is a fairly new release, and this is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Concealer. And initially I picked up shade 2W, and I can use it, although it is quite brightening under the eye, and sometimes I don't really like to use a brightening concealer, but I won't waste it. I'll use it through here and through here today. So I also, after I tried the 2W, I loved it so much that I picked up 3W. That's the shade that I'm going to put under my eyes today. This concealer is fantastic. When I first saw that it was released, I thought it may be too mattifying with the Double Wear foundation. That is a really mattifying foundation. And even though this concealer, it does stay in place like it says it does, it's not as drying, and it's just beautiful, beautiful under the eyes. So the other thing with it, it's got a really generous doe foot. So I'm just going to put some through here and just through here on the other side as well. I can't get over how good this concealer is. This is moving almost, I think, might be the #1 concealer for me at the moment. I am really impressed with it. It doesn't settle into my lines, and it gives a medium coverage. You could probably build it up so it's more full, but I prefer a concealer that gives coverage but just isn't too much. But I think it's just beautiful, and the way that it sits under my eye is just gorgeous. Now I do very lightly powder this down, but if you've been wondering about this concealer, I highly recommend it. I am quite fussy when it comes to concealers, and I do have a few really beautiful ones, but this has also been one that I've been wearing every day for the past week. I think it is gorgeous. And then just what's left on the brush, I'm just going to tap that over my eyelids. And while I've got the concealers out and using them, what I'm going to do is swap to 2W. As I said, this one is just a little bit too light for me under the eyes, but I don't want to waste the product. So what I'm going to do, I used to do this years ago, and I don't really bother with doing this much anymore, but I'll do it today to show you how I just highlight through here, if you want to highlight things, and also through here. And why it's good here through the folds is because when you add lightness, you take away that darkness underneath, and then the folds through here, they don't look as deep. And as you get older, you know that different creases and folds on your face, they can age you. So if you want to make them so they're a little bit less obvious, and this is a really good way of doing it. Just add something light through here. There's also a MAC product, I can't remember the name of it, and I used to use it all the time. This is like years ago when I used to do, and I used to put it right under my eyes as well, but if I did that now it would just be too much, and I find it would just sit in the wrinkles under my eyes. But I still do it this way as well, just through here, down through the bridge of the nose. This is a really beautiful consistency too, the formula of this, because even though it's the double wear, it blends out really beautifully, and I love it that it's definitely a stay in place, but to me it just doesn't feel as mattifying as their foundation, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful product. So like I was saying, if you've been wondering about these, they're definitely worth a go and see what you think of them. Now, because I've highlighted through here, I think today I'm also going to contour as well. And when I did an order with Victoria Beckham Beauty about 3 weeks ago, I finally decided to pick up one of the contour sticks. So that's what I'm going to use today. I'll do a swatch of this on the back of my hand. I think I could almost go a shade deeper than this as well. So this one that I'm going to use today, this is the shade Marble, and I find this really good as well. Now, it's quite a slim type of contour stick, but what I like about this, I'm definitely no expert when it comes to putting on contour, and I find this really user-friendly. So I'm just going to put some through there, and I think I'll put some through here today as well. Just move that up and put some through there. And sometimes I even put some down the side of my nose. I'll do that today. I don't often wear contour, so I tend to go fairly easy with it. Then I'm just going to take the foundation brush that I was using. This is one of the new Victoria Beckham ones. I think this one's called the Buffer Brush. And I've been using this for my foundation and other cream products as well. So I like how this contour stick, it blends out really beautifully, and I also like the shade of it as well. Although, as I was saying, I think I could go one shade deeper, but if you want to play around with contour and you're like me and in no way an expert when it comes to that, then I think these are a really good beginning point. As I was saying, they are user-friendly and just blend out really beautifully. So I'm just going to blend this out on my forehead as well. And then for the contour down your nose, you can either use your finger with this product and blend it out if you want to. I will on the side. Or what I'm going to do on the other side and show you is just use the brush that I used for my concealer as well. Now, the other thing is, if you think you've got a little bit too carried away, then all you need to do is just with a tiny amount of foundation, just tap a little bit over the top, and that usually fixes things if you've just got a little bit carried away. So on the other side, I'm just going to use my concealer brush that I was using before, and I just blend it out upwards. So you've got that faint darkness there, but it's supposed to give the illusion really of just a shadow and just to make your nose look a little bit more narrow. And then with the concealer, I'm just going to get my finger and just press over the top just before I powder it down, and I do that with all my concealers. Then I'm going to grab the Tom Ford. This is the Architecture Soft Matte Powder. This is really lovely, and it's not super mattifying in any way. It just keeps the concealer in place, sets it down, but doesn't dry out underneath my eyes. So off camera, I just put on some eyeshadow primer and did my eyebrows as well. Now to powder my face, I'm going to use the Chanel Natural Finish loose powder and just put this on using my Mercier powder brush. Now the other thing with this foundation is I don't need to use a lot of this powder. I've just picked up the smallest amount and just making sure it is dusted all over my face. But as I was saying earlier, I just need to powder it that once and then it looks beautiful for the rest of the day. Well, anyway, especially during this cool weather. In the summer, it is a different story with my oily skin. But I just think, especially now that it's powdered, just looks gorgeous. For the eyeshadow today, I'm going to use one of the new Dior. These are the Cannage palettes. These were never released here in New Zealand or Australia. They might appear at some stage on the Dior website, but I don't know why they haven't yet. But anyway, I did pick mine up from Harrods and I have got all 4 of them. And the most recent one that I got is that beautiful, it's that all those gorgeous browns in it. But today I'm going to use the one in Silk Taupe, and I haven't tried this one yet. And of course it has that really lovely packaging on the outside. It is plastic but has that distinct Cannage pattern, and then you've got the Dior logo. And again, I would say that these have on the back shelf life of 6 months from date of opening. All the Dior eyeshadows have, and they've had that, well, since I've been using Dior eyeshadows. They do last a lot longer than that. I don't know why they only have it for 6 months, and I'm just looking now. Yes, it still has the 6 month shelf life, but they do last a lot longer than that. And these are also made in France. So inside I've just taken off the little plastic cover. It also has the 2 brushes. One is a sponge and one is a little fluffy brush, and I may use the sponge today. Sometimes I do, depending on what eyeshadow look that I'm going to do. And here is Silk Taupe. I just think this just looks so beautiful. So here is the eyeshadow swatched, and it is from left to right, top to bottom, and the middle shade last. Now this shade here is quite a cool toned. I suppose they may call it a taupe shade. It looks like it could have a slight amount of pink in it. It's quite greyish, so hopefully it doesn't look too ashy. But I think these look really gorgeous. Ignore this here. This is a bruise I got the other day when I was working on the farm. So let's get into this gorgeous quint. I think what I'll start off with is this shade here. I'm going to use my Rapha number 14. And I think I'll use the mirror in the eyeshadow palette. And I think this will be a good shade just to put all over my lid. It's not going to show very much, but I think it'll do really well just as a base shade. Next, I'm going to go into the deeper shade here. This one is a matte, and the one that I just put on, that is a matte as well. And the rest are satin shimmer shades. So this one here, I'm just staying with the same brush, and I'm going to put this in the outer corner. It actually picks up quite a bit of pigment, so I'm just going to go fairly carefully with it, but I'm going to put that through my crease and up onto the brow bone as well. Now I do think that these are just blending out really beautifully. That first shade that I put on felt really good when I was blending that out. And I'm just going to take this just through the crease part as well and slightly up onto the brow bone. But just using the shade that I put there initially, not picking up any more, just so that it's not too dark through here. And then I'll start blending this out, and it blends out really easily. And next I'm going to run that same shade under my lower lash line. As I was saying, this is quite pigmented, this one, so just want to go fairly easy with this. And next I'm going to go into this shade here, and I'm going to put this over the rest of my lid. And this, I would say, it is a beautiful, really beautiful rose shade. It's just gorgeous. I'm really impressed with how these are all applying and how they are blending out as well. are just really, really pretty. Then I've just wiped down this brush here, and I'm going to go into the middle shade, and I'm going to put a little bit of this on my lower lash line. And I think what I'll do is just pop some just through here, just from the inner corner, just out through there. And lastly, I'm going to go into the shade here. I'm just going to tap in it very lightly, and I'm going to place it over the top of the shade. I just want to see if it lightens it. So just put it just through there. And it does, that just lightens it up. So if you're wearing this and you think it needs to be a little bit lighter, then the shade definitely does the trick, I think. I think together they look really, really beautiful. And that last shade that I used, this one here, I think that it is so pretty that I may put that, I think I will. I've just wiped down this brush here, and I'm going to put this in my inner corner as well. And then with the shade here, I didn't think I had quite enough on this eye here, so I actually used this sponge tip applicator. I'll just go in very lightly again to show you. And this also applies the shade really beautifully, and probably get some more payoff than with the brush that I used. It's really gorgeous. So I just put on a small amount of eyeliner and my mascara, and here is the finished eye look. And I think this colour story is just really, really pretty. Blended beautifully, and I think it's gorgeous. Definitely my type of colour story, and I'm really looking forward to trying out the other quints as well. Now for blush, I'm going to be using a new, well, it's not brand new, it was released probably a couple of months ago now actually, and it's the Westman Atelier. This is the Baby Cheeks Powder Blush Duos, and these also came out in the Sculpting Powder Duo as well. Today I'm going to use the Powder Blush Duo, and I'm going to use the one, it's Suede and Sable. Now I've been using these for probably at least the last 3 or 4 weeks. I love them. I think these are beautiful for powder blushes. But for those of you that don't want the ones that come with the sculpting, then I do recommend these ones, the powder blush duos. Then you don't have to worry about if something's going to be too dark. This duo in particular, I think, is just beautiful. I also love the packaging as well. I was watching someone's video a while ago when these first came out, and when they opened this up, it squeaked, and I thought, it just sort of all creaked when you opened it up and down, but none of mine have done that. These also have a really generous mirror inside, and the color story of this is just beautiful. I've used all of the ones that I've got. I got 4 of them. These are pricey. I picked up 2 initially, and I just love them so much that I did pick up 2 more, and I'm even tempted to pick up the 5th one. It's got this beautiful, I think the shade is Fizz, and I think that would be really gorgeous. So here is Suede and Sable. Now I think these actually pack quite a punch, so I go in quite easily with them. I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham brush, and this brush is, I think it says it's number 15. I also use this sometimes for putting on bronzer as well, powder bronzer, and it just works really well. So I'm going to start off with the shade here. Just going to pick up a tiny amount and just put that all over the cheek first. I'd rather go in really lightly and then just slowly build it up, but because I'm going to be using both of the shades, I don't want to put on too much of this one. But I think these blend out beautifully. I only saw one review, and I think the person that I saw review it did like them, but they said that they weren't very wowed by them. But I think they just blend out beautifully, and I also think they also blur as well. They are really flattering on mature skin. Then I'll just go into this shade here, again just picking it up very lightly, and just put this through the apples of my cheeks. And I just love the color story of this one. I think it is just so beautiful. And as I was saying, I have tried all 4 of them now, and I just love them all. They're easy to apply, they blend out beautifully, and they just look super gorgeous. Now you're probably thinking that I forgot about my bronzer, but I didn't want to put on any yet because I wanted to show you the blush. I just want to do the contour first. Now I am going to put on a little bit of bronzer, and I just wanted to mention I might have used it in my live, and that was probably about a couple of months ago. And these are the Laura Mercier. They're the Bronze Colour Infusions. Now, the first one that I bought is number 20, and I loved it so much that I picked up the shade number 30 as well. These are just absolutely beautiful, and I've been using it a lot, and I've only just kept the packaging really just for the video. So after this video, I'll probably throw the packaging out. So I'm just going to hold this one up. This is number 20. And there is a logo in there when you first buy it, but I have been using this quite a bit. It's just gorgeous. And what I do is I just sweep between the 2 shades and apply it. And this one is shade number 30, and this one is more of a caramel type of look, but both are just gorgeous. So just hold them up both together for you. This one here is number 20, and this one here is number 30. Now, because I don't want to put a ton of bronzer on, I'm just picking up a very super fluffy brush. This is absolutely beautiful. This may be, I think this is a Chukohodo brush that I got about 3 years ago. Now, on here it does say Sculpt and Glow, but I don't use these as sculpting. I use them as a bronzer. And what I do is, as I was saying, I just sweep between the 2 shades, and this just gives it this really beautiful glow. And they apply just beautifully. Now you're probably not going to see a lot because the brush that I'm using, like I said, it is super soft and really fluffy. But these bronzers are just so good. And as I was saying, I was so impressed with it that after I'd got the shade, I then picked up the shade number 30. So I don't want to put too much on, but just sweep a little bit down through here and onto the jawbone as well, and just keep it underneath the blush if I can, that I just put on. So this one here just gives this really beautiful, it's a very subtle glow, and it doesn't emphasize texture. I'm really impressed with these, and I think Laura Mercier, I think with things like this, they may be making a bit of a comeback, because over the last few years they've been a little bit more quiet. And I have tried a few of the Laura Mercier products and I do like them, but this is the first one that I've tried probably in, or a newer product in the last couple of years. Now for the lipstick today, I'm going to pick up a couple of shades that were released probably about, gosh, it goes so fast this year, probably about 2-3 months ago now, and this is the Dior Addict, the hydrating shine ones, and this is with the nude shades that they brought out, and these were released New Zealand and Australia probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. So the 2 shades that I got were Pink Callisto, and the other one is Dior Charm. So the one that I'm going to wear today is probably going to be the one Pink Callisto, but what I'm going to do is swatch them on the back of my hand. And this is one of the newer lipstick cases that I also purchased, and this one here is one, I think I got this one last year. So this one here is Pink Callisto, and this one here is Dior Charm. So the one Dior Charm, that's got a little bit of brown in it. This one is more pink. This one's definitely warmer, but they are both really lovely shades. So I'm going to put on a lip liner. This is a Dior one. And everything that I've put on my face, it will be listed and linked below. Now I'm just going to put on the shade Pink Callisto. And here is the finished look, and I think altogether it just looks really pretty. A lot of new products today. Let's start off with the foundation. That isn't that new, but I am so pleased I decided to start trying it again with my oily skin now that the weather is cooler it is perfect with my skin for this time of the year. So if you've got oily skin and you weren't too sure about this and you don't mind just using a foundation at certain times of the year, then I highly recommend this one. Of course, this foundation would be absolutely perfect all year round for those of you with normal to dry skin as well. I think it is such a beautiful foundation. The Victoria Beckham, the contour sticks, I think these are really lovely. I think I could go a shade deeper, but I like this one. It is a bit more subtle, but I may pick up the deeper shade the next time I do a shop at Victoria Beckham Beauty. I love the way that these blend out. I think they're very forgiving to use, and I also like it that they are really long wearing as well. The eyeshadow palette is just beautiful. This one, Silk Taupe, I think is gorgeous, and I'm really looking forward to trying out the other ones as well. I really liked the shade here over the top of this one. I think it just gives it that little bit of a lift and just gives just this overall beautiful look. The shades were easy to use, they blended out like a dream, and I think these are gorgeous. So these are still available at quite a few different retailers, so if you're not too sure about it, I highly recommend them. They just worked really beautifully today, and I really love this final eye look. One thing I nearly forgot to talk about, and that is the Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Concealer. This is gorgeous. I love the way that it looks under my eyes. It doesn't age them at all. To me, it gives great coverage and it stays put. This is definitely a new favorite, and although I picked up a shade it was a little bit too light to begin with, I'm not going to waste it. I can use the lighter shade under my eyes, but I just prefer the shade in 3W, although this also works well if you just want to lighten up areas on your face. Really gorgeous formula, really impressed with these. The Westman Atelier, the powder blush duos, and there's also the sculpting blush duos. I love these. I love the packaging. I love the way they apply, and I love that the different shades that she's got as well. And I didn't do comparison swatches today because there's been so many videos on these, but you would have seen with other videos where they have done comparisons with the cream contours and also the blushes that the shades on these are just, they are some of them quite a bit different, and some are just slightly different as well. But I recommend these. I think they blend beautifully, and I also think they look really beautiful on the skin as well. And also the Dior Addict lipsticks, gorgeous. I love the two shades that I picked up. There's quite a few that they launched under the Nude collection, and I think these are beautiful. I do love a pink lipstick as long as it's not a bright Barbie pink. I think this is a beautiful shade. And the other one that I got in Dior Charm that has a little bit more brown in it, and I think that is really gorgeous as well. So I really just wanted to show you all the things that I had picked up, and I couldn't show them to you because I had different things going on when they were first released, or I can't get them here in New Zealand when they are released. Sometimes I have to wait a little while till I can get my hands on them, but I just wanted to show you how they worked and what I thought of them. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.